There wasn't a time when Antonio Brown wasn't just great. He was unstoppable. The best route runner in football, the most productive wide receiver in the league, and a player on Hall of Fame trajectory. But then, everything started to fall apart. Locker room issues, off-field controversy, team after team letting him go. Until one of the most shocking moments in NFL history, when he walked off the field mid-game and never came back. So what actually happened? Because this wasn't just a fall, this was a complete collapse. This is DRDTakes. Antonio Brown's story didn't start with hype. At Central Michigan, he wasn't a top recruit. He wasn't expected to dominate. But what he did have was obsession, work ethic, attention to detail. He trained like someone who had everything to prove. And when the Pittsburgh Steelers drafted him in the 6th round in 2010, he entered the league as an underdog. By 2013, everything changed. Antonio Brown became the focal point of the Steelers offense. Playing with Ben Roethlisberger, he developed elite chemistry, and what made him special wasn't just stats. It was how he got them. Precision route running, perfect footwork, elite separation. From 2013 to 2018, 6 straight seasons with 100-plus catches, multiple 1,500-yard seasons, led the NFL in receptions and yards. At his peak, there was no argument. He was the best wide receiver in football. But even during dominance, there were warning signs. Silent frustration, emotional reactions, public comments. At first, it looked like passion, but over time, it started to turn into something else. This is where things really shift. Tension started building between Antonio Brown and Ben Roethlisberger, coaches, teammates. Reports came out that he skipped team meetings, disagreed with leadership, became harder to manage. Then a major moment, he missed the final game of the season. That broke trust. And in the NFL, once trust is gone, it's hard to fix. Eventually, the Steelers had enough and traded him to the Oakland Raiders. This is where the story turns into chaos. Before even playing a single game, there was a helmet dispute with the NFL, refused to practice, got fined by the team, and posted private conversations online. And then the biggest moment, confrontation with GM Mike Mayock. At that point, the situation was beyond repair. The Raiders released him before he ever played a snap. He signed with the New England Patriots, plays one game, looks elite again, then off-field allegations surface. And just like that, he's released. Again. Then comes one final opportunity with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Reuniting with Tom Brady, this was his chance to rebuild everything. And for a moment, it worked. Contributed to the offense, helped win the Super Bowl. It looked like redemption. Then, mid-game against the Jets, Antonio Brown takes off his jersey, throws it into the crowd, and walks off the field. No explanation, no return. This was the last time we saw him in the NFL. And this is where the story gets even more complicated. Because after that moment, people start asking the same question. What actually happened to Antonio Brown? And depending on who you ask, you'll get a different answer. Some people believe everything started changing mentally. The pressure, the fame, the expectations. And over time, it became too much. Because when you go from underdog to best in the world, that kind of spotlight hits different. Others point to a specific moment. A hit from Vontaze Burfict in the playoffs. A brutal collision. And some believe, after that hit, Antonio Brown wasn't the same. Now this is debated, but it's something that always comes up. Then there's this idea that success changed everything. When you become the best, you get power, you get attention, you get influence, and sometimes that can change how you move, how you think, how you respond to people. And there's the simplest explanation. It wasn't one moment, it was everything, stacking up over time. Locker room tension, arguments, decisions, situations. And so eventually, it all reached a breaking point. So where's Antonio Brown now? He's still very active, just not in football. He has a heavy presence on social media, attempted a music career, podcast appearances, business ventures, and occasional public controversies. He's still in the spotlight, but in a completely different way. And any NFL comeback, at this point, looks very unlikely. This wasn't about ability, because Antonio Brown had elite talent, elite production, elite work ethic. This came down to relationships breaking down, trust disappearing, and decisions stacking up over time. And once all that builds up, there's no reset button. Antonio Brown's story is one of the most extreme in NFL history, because we didn't just see a decline, we saw a complete shift from best in the league to completely out of it. And that's what makes this so hard to understand, because the talent never disappeared. The ability was still there, but everything around it changed. So the real question is, did Antonio Brown ruin his own career, or did something happen that changed everything along the way? This is DRDTakes. Thank you for watching, and God bless.